Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. I'm happy to be with you today, and I hope you're having a really great day too. I have a passage I'd like to share with you this morning. It just seems appropriate. I'm sitting here in the early morning and it's quiet and can hear the birds singing. It's just a wonderful, beautiful day. And that kind of describes this passage from Psalm 103 and verse 8. The psalmist, in this case, probably David, says, "The Lord is compassionate and merciful, slow to get angry, and filled with unfailing love." You know, I've known a lot of people that were not like this. They weren't compassionate and merciful, and they weren't slow to anger. And perhaps you've seen some or know some, and I really hope you're not one of them. But for those folks, it's like a stick of dynamite that's ready to explode. And any little thing you say, and woof, off they go. And, and and sometimes you wonder, how could all of that anger be inside of that person? Now, it's one thing to be angry at unkindness that we see, or angry at injustice. I get angry at how people who are different get treated. I really do. It doesn't matter whether the difference is something significant or something insignificant. It bothers me when we don't treat people as people, whoever they are. But that's different. I've been angry at situations in that I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't like what was happening. I wasn't going to continue what was happening, but I couldn't change it. And that's made me angry. And from time to time, I would get angry at my kids who would do things that seemed to be, well, shall we say, dumb. But you know what? My parents probably got angry at me when I did those dumb things, probably the exact same way. And I suspect their parents felt the same way about them. So that's probably somewhat universal. But here we're talking about God, and He lives at a different level. You know, lots of us don't need someone to get angry at us. We're angry at ourselves. Missed opportunity, didn't do something we should have, did something that years later still bothers us, or we're angry because we didn't succeed. I remember when my son was playing Little League basketball, and the parents would get so angry whenever the kid did something wrong. I remember this one case where this little guy, whatever he did, his father yelled at him from the stands. Poor fella, he couldn't do anything right. And when he did something right, he got very little praise for it. God here says he's something different. Let me read it again. The Lord is compassionate and merciful, slow to get angry, and filled with unfailing love. What does it mean to be compassionate? Well, it means to have empathy. That means that I understand the situation and I feel for how difficult it is. I know right now any number of folks who are really struggling. And I wish I had a magic pill to remove their struggling, whatever it is, but I don't have one. I mean, I know that God can do that, but they're they're barely going to listen to me. You know, God Himself's going to have to speak to them. But it says He's compassionate and He's merciful. whatever we do, God's first response is mercy. Now, I know in the Old Testament it didn't look that way, but we live in the New Testament. And some would say, well, God hasn't changed. No, he certainly hasn't. But Jesus is the most recent manifestation of God and his presence. So we look to Jesus. He was always compassionate and he was always merciful. Whatever the person did, Jesus' first response was mercy. And then it goes on to say that God is slow to anger. I don't know exactly what it would take to get God mad, but I don't want to find out either. And I certainly don't want to try to find out what would it take for God to be mad at me. Now, I know just as I'm disappointed in my kids at times, he's disappointed in me. He's disappointed in all of us from time to time. And at other times, he's just real enthusiastic for us. So I know how I can disappoint him, but I sure don't want to make him mad. I mean, you think about how do you calm down someone who's mad? And the answer is you just basically have to walk away. Well, how are you going to walk away from God? Thank goodness, he says, he's slow to anger. He just doesn't want to go that direction. God's character is such that he wants to provide mercy, not anger and punishment. That's his, as we would say, his fallback position. And then he goes on to say, and he's filled with unfailing love. Now, my capacity to love is not unfailing. That's right, I'll admit it. There are times when being loving is not what I want to be. Now, those times are few and fewer as I get older, but they're still there. I'm human, just like you and every other person walking on this earth. And there's nothing, there's nothing wrong with me because I have those feelings. But God never has them. I don't understand how he can take, as we would say, as much as we throw on him and still have unfailing love. I don't understand it, but I know he has it. So today for you, wherever you are, whatever you've done, and whatever you're doing right now, just remember that God's first response is mercy. His second response is compassion. And he's filled with unfailing love towards each of us. That means you too. Well, thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. If you have a need or a concern that we can help with, please let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Take care, my friends. I'll talk to you again.